Welcome, fellow cinephiles, to Cinematics Problematics, where we make morally shaky excuses to still love films filled with racism, misogyny, objectification, and inappropriate sexualization. Some of these films are like your favorite uncle, who you love seeing at Christmas because he makes everything more fun. But then he slips in a quip about blacks and Jews, and then your mom says, oh, he's just from a different time. And by the way, we're allowed to say this because I'm black.
And I'm Jewish. Movies are time capsules, and filmmakers were just doing their best, their most women and minority hitting best. And we're here to come to their defense. We've lost the ability to forgive, so let's start exercising that muscle with something that brings us together. Movies, and judging things, and possibly hating them.
So feel free to laugh and judge with us as we go to a different time and try to find a way to still love the movies that made us the freaky weirdos we are today. Enjoy the show. Sexual assault is okay as long as you're really good at sexual assault.
Yeah. He was great at it.
As long as you're above an 8, then all's forgiven.
Yeah, that sexual assault was so assaulty.
It was so assaulty. It was like a solid 8.5, man. Good job. Therefore, great. You are vindicated. No charges pressed.
Your back.
Okay, welcome to Cinematics Problematics, where we celebrate your guilty pleasures. I'm Chrissy Redding.
And I am Erin Maxwell.
And today, we're talking about the 1984 comedy Revenge of the Nerds, directed by Jeff Kanew, which follows horny freshman nerds Lewis and Gilbert as they get into college, only to be bullied by the cool, jocular members of the Alpha Beta fraternity. In response to their humiliation and their sudden lack of housing at the hands of Alpha Beta, they not only form their own fraternity born out of the all-black fraternity Lambda Lambda Lambda, but they challenge the jocks to various competitions at the Homecoming Carnival so that they can rule the Greek Council. The film stars Lewis Carradine, Anthony Edwards, Curtis Armstrong, Ted McGinley of Shrinking Fame, and John Goodman as the evil football coach. Erin, to you.
Fun fact, the word nerd has some really adorable origins. It comes from Dr. Seuss. It came from If I Ran the Zoo. And in the book, it mentions that while creating the zoo, the narrator is collecting a nurgle, a nerd, and a sea sucker or two for his imaginary zoo for everybody to come and see. And at the time, a nerd is just another little creepy little animal that the narrator keeps in the zoo. Although the concept of a nerd at that time was very much prevalent in film. We had seen it in Jerry Lewis comedies of the 1960s. We saw it in the 70s with movies like Animal House. And we saw it in things like, again, we've seen it in and out of culture. It's always the opposite of awesome or the opposite of cool, kind of like the smart kid that wasn't necessarily great at sports, but usually called a geek, not necessarily a nerd. The first time a nerd was ever married with uncool was done on Happy Days by the Fonz. The coolest human ever.
Right. So, I think that Dr. Seuss, the word nerd is where the associations with Dr. Seuss end, because there were no boobs in the Dr. Seuss book at all, I don't think, right? I didn't read it.
A few star belly sneeches, but no boobs.
I don't remember any breasts on the star-bellied sneeches. Do not defile my favorite Dr. Seuss book, please.
There were some well-placed stars, but no, you are correct.
Yeah, they were very well-placed. It was discreet.
Yeah. But for the most part, it was the Fonz that brought the nerd to pop culture, and that's where it pretty much stayed. And ever since then, being a nerd, being unpopular, liking books, staying after school, being cool with your teachers, being great at computers, not being great at sports, these all are associated with being a nerd, and we can thank the Fonz for that.
Thanks, Fonz.
Thanks for that.
I don't think that he had this in mind, though, at all.
He literally was just talking in regards to Potsy and Potsy's band.
Okay, yeah, he was not thinking about boobies and panty raids.
No.
Okay. Just want to clear that up.
Yes. And the cast at the time is, now the cast is, you look back and this cast is pretty amazing. You have at the top of it, we have Robert Carradine, who was part of the Carradine Hollywood family dynasty. His dad is John Carradine from The Grapes of Wrath. His brother is David Carradine from Kill Bill and Kung Fu. His other half brother is Keith Carradine Carradine, who was from Nashville and Deadwood and Dexter and won an Academy Award for I'm Easy from the movie Nashville. His niece is Martha Plimpton. Like, it just keeps going on. His family is large and in charge. We have Anthony Edwards, who's best known as Goose. So good. Timothy Busfield, who played Poindexter, was from Field of Dreams. You know, he pushed a kid, then later on choked on a hot dog and had to be saved by a ghost doctor.
Wasn't he also on 30-something?
Also on 30-something. He's now directing most of the Law and Orders, FBI's, and the Connors.
Good for him.
Curtis Armstrong went on The Booger. He had a long career on American Dad. Everybody on here is best one is Ted McGinley.
McGinley, the comeback of all comebacks.
Yes. On Shrinking, was best known also for the patron saint of jumping the shark. For a short while there, if Ted McGinley was on your show, it meant your show was coming to a disastrous end, as proven by, sadly, Happy Days, Love Boat, Dynasty, and Married with Children.
You know what? He's having a resurgence. He is like one of the best things about Shrinking. I adore him on that show.
And then we also have John Goodman as the evil football coach.
I love John Goodman. He's a little bit scary in this, but we can get to that.
He even said he scared himself. He said he was just modeling it after every dickhead coach that he ever had.
Well done. I mean, there's like two moments in the movie that are way too serious for me. We can get to them, but one of them is the locker room speech where it was like Oscar worthy and kind of terrifying. But okay.
Chrissy, what are your early memories with this film?
My early memories. Okay. So a little bit of context. Growing up, I didn't have a ton of guardrails on whatever I viewed on cable, especially over at my dad's place. So I watched Revenge of the Nerds, I think on the movie channel, many, 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 many times. And it was back in the day, like when they would just repeat movies over and over and over again. And I remember watching it, I think it was like the coolest movie because I felt kind of like out of place at school. And so I kind of felt like a nerd and I wanted to root for the underdog and everything. And then there were like beautiful jocks and everything. And there were, I felt kind of privileged, I guess, at my early age to be able to see movies like with boobs and shit in it. So... And so I was just like, isn't this cool? And so I'm just going to milk this. And so I'm just going to watch it repeatedly. And I became somewhat desensitized to kind of like I don't even know what you would call it, like the sexuality of the playful sexuality. I think that they're trying to make it playful for the most part. But yeah, I had fond memories of it. It's a very basic, simple movie. It's easily digestible. It's not plot dense. It's not complicated. It is about good versus evil. It is about perseverance in the face of bullying. And, who doesn't want to root for that? Having said that, upon rewatch, there were some troubling things.
There are. And before we kind of get into that, I just want to say that as a child, me and my cousins, and I had a lot of cousins, would reenact the talent show scene in our goofy costumes with our childhood playground instruments. All day, every day.
Erin, for the people who are listening, the two people who are listening, can you recount all the different characters? Because it is a rich cast of characters that they have up on the stage at the homecoming competition. So can you tell us a little bit about who was on stage, please?
Well, first you have to clap your hands, everybody. Everybody clap your hands because the sound does count down everybody that's like and what they do. Because you had Gilbert. And then you had Lewis, and they were on the synthesizers. You had Lamar that was doing the rapping. You had Harold, who was moonwalked on, and then he was doing. You had Tamashi, who was banging a gong because that was problematic.
Because, well, I mean, obviously, you bang a gong if you're Japanese. Don't all Japanese people do that?
Yes. And then you had Booger Elvis,
yes.
And then you had the Omega Moons that were clapping along in the background.
Yes.
And then you had the rest of the nerds that were also on synthesizers and assorted bands.
So you had Timothy Busfield on
and then the
electric violin.
And you had Poindexter on the violin. And he was the main part because it was his silhouette it ended on.
And you had the gay black man breakdancing in a Michael Jackson Thriller vest.
Yes.
Because that was obligatory, by the way, back then in the 80s. Like there always had to be a Michael Jackson Thriller jacket.
If you made a Michael Jackson reference in your song that you prepared for a talent show and you can halfway decent at doing a moonwalk, you were going to win that talent show.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They proved it again and again, both on silver spoons. They proved it. I'm sorry. They proved it on like, it was like, if that was just a trope that existed, and it's not untrue. And I still believe it is true today.
I still don't even understand how they got the rights to Thriller. Because they play that. Don't they play Thriller in the movie? Like, how did they get the rights to that? This is like a low budget movie. Yes, at the party. Oh. The party when the hot girl sorority, the pies, like when they don't show up.
Oh, yeah.
And they invite the moos. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
They invite the moos, and there is them playing something from the Thriller album on there. And I was just like, I'm impressed. That's where all the budget went, apparently.
That was it. That and the robot that can sweep.
Right. Right, because obviously if you're a nerd, you have robots cleaning your house.
Also proven on silver spoons.
That's true. Oh my gosh.
The parallels are right there.
I know. So I have a RoboVac right over there. So, I mean, I thought I was making a joke. It's actually real, but whatever. It's fine. Is there anything else from your recollection of like your young years of watching this somewhat raunchy film?
There was a lot of nudity, but I had HBO in the full HBO package with HBO, Cinemax, and Movie Channel. So there was a lot of nudity in general in that package. Mm-hmm. And so even though we watched Revenge of the Nerds a lot, and it did have full frontal nudity, it wasn't any more or any less than what I was getting from, let's say, the Blue Lagoon or anything else that was being shown at that time.
We'll get to the Blue Lagoon. My
God.
So
it didn't really stand out for me as much as Lamar rapping and telling us to clap our hands and then dressing up my little cousin Mija in a headdress and making him bang a gong.
Wow.
Which I admit now is problematic. But to be fair, he's never done it since, and he's 40 and he's fine. He's well adjusted now.
I mean, the beauty of these films is that, I mean, we were all problematic back then, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody was just an asshole. Like by today's
I was
standards.
7. Please give me a little bit of leeway here. I apologize.
You laughed. You were an asshole.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
Yeah.
I forgive you.
Thank you.
That's why we're doing this podcast, is so that we can accept the fact that we've grown, that we've evolved. Maybe we're a little assholey back then, or filmmakers were in general. But you know what? It was a different time.
Thank you for accepting me for who I am, because I lied. I was actually 17.
I was 7 or something when I watched this. So, so I win. All right. Shall we go into the elements that were a little bit problematic? Should we talk about them? Should we talk about it?
Yeah. What this movie is famous for, or what it is infamous for, is that it has a sexual assault scene on the character of Betty. And the way that it is done is that Betty has a kissing booth, like something you would never see today. But for those who do not know, these were standard practice. Their carnival that they had was something that was very real. And UCLA used to have one every year. And I used to go to it. It was called the UCLA Mardi Gras. And all of the frats and fraternities used to compete. And we used to go every single year. And they had all the same things, including a kissing booth. So you would pay like $1 to $5 depending on the raunchiness of the kiss. And so Betty is working the kissing booth. She gets a little worked up. She goes to her boyfriend Stan, the jock, and asks him, hey, I'm feeling a little ornery. Let's go to make out. And Stan pushes her away. She gets insulted. Lewis sees it as his chance, puts on a Darth Vader costume. It takes her hand. He tricks her into thinking it is Stan, because Stan was wearing a similar costume, pulls her into the fun house and makes love to her in the moon room, tricking her into having sex, thus committing a sexual assault.
And Lewis knows that she thinks that it's Stan because she's like calling his name and all that stuff. And yeah, she goes into like this empty funhouse by herself. Why was the funhouse empty? Bothers me. Anyways, yeah, but she goes into the funhouse, the moon room or whatever it is. Lewis follows and then fails to correct her when he begins to, I mean, it looks like it was an act of cunnilingus. And at the end of that, Lewis comes up, takes off his mask. And at first she's a little bit freaked out. She's like, you're a nerd. And then she's like, oh my God, but you were great. It's like, it's really bad. It is, but it is so symbolic of kind of how women in these types of comedies were portrayed in the 80s. Like, this is not a surprise at all. They were just kind of like flighty, airheady. They didn't have a ton of dimension. They were going to go with like where the popular guy was. Like, there wasn't like a ton of nuance to their decision making at all, like when they were looking for a boyfriend or whatever. And it's like a switch turns on. Like she's like, oh, well, they'll like, that felt great. And so now I'm in love with the nerd, and I'm totally unbothered by the fact that he was pretending to be my boyfriend.
It was rape by deception, and because she was not informed completely of her situation, there was no consent that was given, and then it was laughed off. So she did not need, it's implied that she never needed the consent to begin with.
Well, I mean, and it's kind of like sexual assault is okay as long as like you're really good at the sexual assault.
Yeah. Like he was great at it.
Like as long as you're above
God.
an 8, then all's forgiven.
Yeah, like that sexual assault was so assaulty.
It was so assaulty. It was like a solid 8.5, man. Like, good job. Therefore,
Great.
You are vindicated. No charges pressed.
At the exact same time, it is discovered that the nerds were distributing pornography of the same girl, also without her consent.
By the way, okay, this is going to sound like I'm a major perv, but I took a good look at that picture, and there was definitely a male Photoshop artist, if there was even Photoshop back then, adjusting this picture because her nipples are like freaking saucers. They have shadow under them. They're larger than normal. They did some embellishment there, and I was super grossed out by it.
They are not the same breasts than we were presented with earlier in the movie.
I mean, and look, it's like they could have totally shown them unaltered. They're great. They look great. They're fabulous.
Betty, you have great breasts.
She has amazing breasts.
That was unnecessary. So she is being attacked on several fronts in this one 5-minute scene.
Right.
Which is kind of, I feel bad for the character. And it's very odd because, fun fact about me, I have seen the entire Revenge of the Nerds journey. I've been on the full journey. I've seen all 4 movies. Willingly.
I somehow feel unworthy and yet better than you at the same time.
Yes, you should. I feel sad for me. And in the later films, she does marry Lewis. They do have a very beautiful marriage. And by the 4th movie, she's very much pregnant, and they're having a baby, and they have a very happy marriage.
Right. But in this movie, they make it seem like because she's a bitch that she
deserves
deserves
this.
all of the things that are happening to her. And by, today's context, like, this would be like, this is revenge porn. This is like, I think, like a crime in several states.
Yes.
And maybe not all of them, I don't know, but definitely in the state of California. And what happens to her afterwards is definitely terrible, but they brush it off by making her totally cool with it. And so because she's cool with it, all is forgiven, not a problem.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Luke and Laura situation from General Hospital.
Oh my God, yes.
Like Luke and Laura, for those of you who are unaware, Luke and Laura many, many years ago were the hottest couple ever on General Hospital. But the way that they started out was what you would call a little rocky.
Just a little bit.
They had a would they, won't they kind of romance. And then it ended up with, well, will they? Well, apparently so, because Luke ended up raping Laura. And then later on, when they got together, they retconned that relationship. So Laura later referred to it as the first time that they made love.
Yikes.
And that's kind of what happened to Betty.
Yeah, that is kind of, I mean, they retconned it like really super fast, and they retconned it with her, like saying, all's good.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was great. I mean, and by the way, okay, seriously, I mean, not that these films are based in any sort of realism, but they are definitely written by dudes. Of course, a nerd is going to know exactly what he's doing down there, not having done it before ever.
Right.
I mean, come on. This is all like male fantasy. It's like the bitch, good-looking girl finally turns around because of like his amazing cunnilingus skills that he got where? No idea. It's not like he can train on a banana the way the girls can. What's the equivalent? No idea. Just didn't make any sense.
Learn from the robot. It was a very talented robot.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so the sexual assault, very bad. Revenge porn, very, very bad.
The voyeurism, the nerds at some point
Yes.
earlier in the movie before the assault, to get the pictures of Betty, the nerds had early on instigated a panty raid in order to get revenge when the jocks and their girlfriends broke up a party that the nerds were having in order to impress the Lambdas. So
the pies didn't show up, right? And so this was
That's right.
this was the pies' punishment for duping them, for singing a beautiful song in front of their house and pretending like they were going to come to the party. And then just not showing up.
And instead, they left their doors open to let the pies in. And then that's what allowed them, the jocks, to open up and allow all the pigs in. Because they let they stole a bunch of pigs from a nearby farm and then filled the house with pigs when the party was successful. So in order to get revenge on the girls' part of this party for not showing up and for letting the guys know that they were invited to the party and for instigating all the events that occurred after that, they did a panty raid on their sorority. And during the panty raid, they hid cameras throughout the sorority house.
Yes. I mean, and they made it seem like this like fun little James Bondy like little exercise, you know, like they're climbing up ropes, they're on the roof, they're installing a camera like that's like voice activated somehow, because after the fact they're able to say to zoom in, focus, all that stuff. But apparently it's like a lot of cameras, because they were able to get a camera into like every single room, it seemed like, of this house. Not only that, so not only like unlawfully surveying these women in their bedrooms, but add to that, they actually break into the house and hide in the shower and wait for women to be naked so that they can chase them around and get their underwear and run out of the house.
Right.
Yeah. So why is this problematic, Aaron?
I mean, other than just like breaking and entering and then invading women's spaces and then invading a safe space and then just being voyeuristic, and then they later sell the images that they get. It's just the whole bunch of it is kind of gross.
It's very gross. I mean, and also like the depiction of what women do like in private in their rooms and stuff. It's just like, yeah, I'm sitting in front of a vanity mirror topless, wearing only my silk short underwear and brushing my hair. I'm sorry, maybe I'm out of touch, but I have never done that in my entire freaking life. And even if I did have a vanity mirror, I would not sit in front of it topless and brush my hair.
And for the most part, later on, they show them that they've been watching this for like 24 hours straight. Yeah. That they won't move away from the TV and that they're just addicted to watching these women.
Oh, and they never put their clothes on, by the way, after being totally like,
and they're just doing mundane.
After being attacked in the house, they're still walking around topless in their underwear. Like, no biggie.
Yeah. And they're just doing mundane things. They're just like brushing their teeth and talking to each other. And they're just like in their pajamas, or sometimes they're topless or whatever they're doing. And it's just like, not all these girls did what Betty did. And it's just, the punishment didn't seem to fit the crime.
Well, it's just disgusting. It's just gross. It's like, this is the stuff that people are afraid of, like in their Airbnbs, right? Of like having like some perv like surveilling them like in the bathroom or in the bedroom or something. It's disgusting, but it is, once again, made out to be just like a harmless prank. This is like what people do. This is what boys do. Yeah, you know, they're just looking at boobies. It's not a big deal. And at the time, like when I first saw it, I was conditioned to think, too, that it wasn't a big deal. I was like, oh, haha, that's funny. Because it's like I wasn't grown up yet. It's like I wasn't like a sexual being or anything yet. So, yeah, funny. Fine. I laughed at it. I was 8 or 7 or however old I was when I watched this. And it was like back then, it just wasn't a big deal. And that shit was funny. It just was. I mean, looking back, you know?
I mean, one of the things that is kind of bad about this movie, and it does later on kind of right itself a little bit with Gilbert's speech and some of the nerds' actions. And we'll get into later what is good about it, because there is a lot of good here. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I found that was really bad is that it does have like this revenge narrative that justifies bad behavior. Mm-hmm. So it's not like the nerds better themselves or rise above it. Like when they go low, we go high kind of situation.
No,
they go lower. than, or just as low as the jocks.
Yeah.
Like, I think the jocks go after like the Omega moves, but not in the same way the nerds go after.
No. It's true. Like, I mean, there's a difference between surveying women, nude against, like, without their consent and, like, unleashing pigs into a house. There's a difference between that and also setting a nerd's sign on fire in front of a house that, is just kind of like, oh, that's kind of shitty, but...
And I don't want to put all the blame on the nerds here because, like, the jocks are terrible.
No, they're awful.
They're terrible. Like, almost immediately within 5 minutes of the movie, the jocks, like, the catalyst for all the events is that the jocks burn down their own fraternity house and take over the freshman quarters that you have to realize are expensive and that the freshmen did pay for probably the whole semester, if not the year. So they're immediately thrown out and probably not, like, refunded for their quarters that they paid for, with probably not getting their meal plan back or anything. I mean, I went to college. I paid for dorms. Did you pay for dorms?
I lived at home, so no.
All right.
Like, a lot of this is foreign to me.
That's expensive, man.
No,
like,
I know. That's why I lived at home.
Yeah. It's like, so they paid for the dorms and then they immediately within one day get thrown out of their dorms. All their stuff is thrown out. So their stuff is completely destroyed. So they're out like several thousands of dollars. And if they were on scholarship, they're not getting any of that money back. And then they're forced to live in the gym. And then they're told that they have to immediately find a fraternity. And that's the only way that they can either live or get off-campus housing.
You are finding this eviction very problematic. Wow.
Because I've had to pay for dorms, man. I know how expensive that is.
See, I thought about this. I was just like, that didn't even make my list. Like,
dude, when you think about how expensive dorms are, you're like, that's like really expensive. That's like upsettingly expensive. And the college was cool with it. And then like it happens to them again. So now, technically speaking, like when these nerds initially went to the cops should have done something because they should have said, hey, these assholes cost us thousands of dollars in property damage. And what was, 84. So let's say it's $84. So like, let's say that these dorms and the meal plan cost us like $2,000. That's still a lot of money, $84. I could have gotten you like a VHS and like one tape.
Wow, you're taking like a lot of offense to this. Like, I'm not, like, this wasn't even on my radar at all. I mean, I think that like if you're gonna like have a competition about who is the most evil, the nerds or the jocks, I mean, it's really a question of what do you value more? Cheap dorm rent and property damage or female consent. Pick one.
I mean, female consent because I'm an ally, but
well, no,
I'm not going to say no to female consent.
Well, I mean, I know that was a trick.
Outraged.
That was a trick. You're supposed to say property damage.
I'm just outraged that like local cops didn't do anything about the thousands of dollars. Like they're throwing out like computers out the window.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like that's actually like an interesting point that like the jocks like did things that are definitely dickish in nature, but not as like psychologically harmful as what the nerds did.
But maybe like legitimately a felony.
Oh, for sure. I think that I think all of it. I think all of it is a felony. I think all of it's a felony. But I think that like when you look at who started it, which is how a lot of the world works, is like who started it.
Yeah.
Then I mean, if we're going by that logic, then yeah, like the jocks are the assholes here. They're the villains, and they deserved everything that they got. Except I think that we both agree that the women probably got more than they deserved.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely like misogyny disguised as underdog humor.
Oh, for sure. There's like tons of misogyny in this.
Yeah, yeah. And then on top of that, we also have a little bit of stereotypes. Some with Lamar and,
Takashi.
Yeah, it's...
And even the sororities. Like, even the moos and the pies. I mean,
okay,
hello.
and I wrote that about the moos.
Yes.
Because then you get, like, fatphobic kind of, like, when the moos come in and they're supposed to be heinous and you look at them with, like, adult eyes and you're like, these girls are actually lovely.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cute.
Yeah, they're actually really pretty good. And then I clocked, like, there was, like, one white girl in a sari. I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know I really want her backstory, but we'll get back to that later.
The pies are the hot ones, obviously.
Like there may not be like conventionally hot like Betty, but they're all very lovely looking girls.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they were called pigs, they were called cows, and they were called a bunch of other things, and they were actually none of that.
Right. They were just like very lovely people.
Lovely looking people, very beautiful girls.
Exactly. And they were very eclectic too.
Yeah.
Very dynamic. Like they had a lot of variety amongst them, you know? It's like in terms of like how they dressed and how they presented themselves, different heights, wildly different heights.
They fucking knew how to party.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did. And you know what's important? To know how to party.
You know what? And they weren't afraid to come on to the guy first.
Yeah.
They're not.
They fucking got down, and that's really important. And they're there for you when you need it. They're clapping along.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're clapping along. They're team players. We like that. They're there for their guys, and the guys are there for them.
Fuck yeah!
I like this pairing
a
lot. I'm down for it.
So, and going back to Lamar, the representation of how they are represented on screen, it's still in some ways good. Because the thing is with the nerds is that they were inclusive with them.
Yes.
They included them into their group, whereas a lot of other movies at that time, and a lot of movies at that time, kept homosexual characters or characters who are foreign or characters who are immigrant characters to the outskirts.
Yeah.
And were not part of the group. You saw that a lot in Animal House. You saw that in 16 Candles. You saw that in... And homosexual characters, you saw that in St. Elmo's Fire. You saw that they were there for laughs, and that was the only point there. And then they were just kind of kept to the side, and they were never part of the main cast or the main characters. Here, they're very much part of the main cast. They were heroes in many ways. They had things to do. They were important to the cast. They were friends with the cast, and they were respected by the cast.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that this was kind of back in the day when this was Hollywood's way of being like, okay, let's like be diverse. Let's try to like include a character of color in here, or, you know, an LGBTQIA character in here. I don't think they had that term back then, but whatever. I mean, the problem is that a lot of the time they were depicted in exactly this way. Like they were shown to be very monolithic, like this effeminate, you know, character. Now, having said that, I have known guys like Lamar, totally known them, love it. Like, there are guys that are like this, but there are also a ton of other gay men that are nothing like this.
Sure.
And the problem with Hollywood at the time was that they were just portraying them all in the same way a lot of the time. And so that's where it was like a little bit of a problem. But in a world where, you know, that had been so far dominated by white male perspectives, and this still is to a large extent, having a character like Lamar, you know, or having a, you know, a Japanese character or whatever was their, you know, not perfect attempt to try and include characters that looked and were different than like your standard like white male that you saw like throughout, you know, the history of film. So to your point, Aaron, yes, it is like a form of inclusion, an imperfect form of inclusion. Listen. But, and I mean, it's like, and to be honest, like back then, I'm watching like Lamar Luttrell, and I love this character when I was a kid. I'm like, this guy's awesome. He's like aerobicizing. He's great at decorating. He's great at dancing. He's the most fun one. He's got a moral compass. He's like, you guys have been watching this shit all night long. You know what I mean? It's like,
he's worried about Wormser. He's like,
he's like a big brother. Yeah. To Wormser. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. He's like, he's a mentor. Like, listen, is this the best representation for a queer character? No. But it was 1984. This was as good as we were going to get at that time. That wasn't like off Broadway, written by queer people for queer audiences.
Yeah.
So for what it was, this was great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like back in the day, it was like, if you were a black man on film, you were either a criminal or a cop, or you were dancing. You know, like in the 80s, those were like the three things. And so you have like Lamar Luttrell, who's like being included into this, you know, this kind of like ragtag group of underdogs. And he brings positivity to the group. You know, I mean, he does participate in like the surveillance setup, which is not good. But at the same time, he's like the only one there that seems to kind of like I don't know. He seems like a good dude. He seems like a good, wholesome guy who is there for his brothers, and that's cool to see, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I want to hang out with Lamar Luttrell. Like, I wanted, like, that is like the constant of this film for me, is that I still want to hang out with Lamar Luttrell.
There will be a point in the future where we discuss the movie Mannequin. And then we will have this conversation again about the character Hollywood.
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, God.
So we're just gonna.
I cannot wait to do that one with you.
Put a pin on that because this is another character where it's like, is this character problematic? Perhaps. Do we love this character?
Absolutely. Amazing. Is Kim Cattrall Egyptian? We're not going to get into it. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Takashi.
We've seen representation, especially either foreign or immigrant coming to America and then not being able to find their place and then just being used as like for comedic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the nerds include him and include him in big ways, like he gets a big moment in the movie and it's a really funny moment and it's great.
Are you talking about the Liquid Heat?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Liquid Heat, and I'm talking about the bike race.
Oh, the bike race is
Yeah.
great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bike race where he gets the song. It's like "You Are My Sunshine," I think, in like Japanese, and then like he's riding around on the bikes, and like it's just a really cute scene.
Well, I mean, and it's so funny, like in these 1980s movies, like when there is an Asian character on screen, they want to make damn sure you remember that they're Asian. Like he's wearing a headband with like the Japanese flag on it.
Yeah.
It's like if you didn't understand that he was Japanese before, we just want to make sure that you understand it now. Also, we're going to make him bang a gong, whether that's Japanese or not. I'm not quite sure, but it's somewhere in Asia. So we're going to make him do it, right? We're going to make him do it. We're going to make him bang the gong. And then like, we're going to make him this kind of manic, innocent, naive type of character that is kind of seen like throughout the 80s too. It's kind of like this weird Asian man archetype. I don't even know where the hell it came from.
You see it a lot. We see it in 16 Candles, but then you also see it in like Gung Ho, and you see it in like whenever
you can say Data from Goonies a little bit, maybe. Yeah, it was kind of like a thing.
It was just something, and I don't really know where it originated from.
Yeah, I don't know where they got. It was like a screenwriter met a Japanese guy once who acted this way and thought that it applied to every Japanese man somehow because it just became a thing and it was really weird. And it's like just like, you know, with black men on film, like fulfilling certain roles, it was like during the 80s, it was like this or you knew karate or something. You know, and that was basically like there weren't a ton of other, or maybe you were a businessman sometimes, but that was it. Like they were trying, but it was very narrow. Like the types of roles that, you know, people of color could have, and this is very, very symbolic of that.
I guess it goes with like white writers just don't know how to write for people who aren't white. They don't know how to write for women. They don't know how to write for people that are just not like white Christian.
No, they're like writing out like their fantasies and stuff. It's just like, don't I wish that I could have like set up a camera in a sorority house and like looked at boobies all day.
So my understanding is that like in the 1980s and 1970s is like when you were screenwriting for, especially when they were trying to sell the box office, one of the fallout from 70s box office was like, they were like, well, you have to write for middle America. And the idea was that you write for the lowest common denominator. So you have to write to everybody's weaknesses. So you have to write everybody like nobody understands or nobody's ever met another person before that wasn't what they look like. Mm-hmm. So if I was like, you know, like I'm Jewish. So for a while there, everybody that I saw on screen that was Jewish was like, oh, maybe they have like a yarmulke on, or maybe they're really good in numbers, but they definitely weren't good at sports.
Oh, God. Okay, I'm only laughing because you're laughing.
Here, let me give you this pamphlet on Jewish sports stars.
How thick is it? Don't answer that.
It's literally a leaflet.
Oh my God. I don't know anything about sports, so I'm going to have to take your word for it on that one. Okay, so we have the general misogyny against women. We have Lamar Luttrell. We have Takashi, There's also like a little bit of like large black men are scary.
Yeah.
And it's like this thought that like the black fraternity was like the lowest fraternity at campus, and therefore they must apply there. I mean, it's all kind of, I mean, in the end, it's you know, it's fine because like they were also accepting of the nerds, you know, like they were like, we are one, like we're trying to be all inclusive here. We're bringing you guys along. Like you're one of us because you guys have been oppressed by the jocks and we've been oppressed by America.
Yeah.
So we are going to take you in and you're going to be one of us. And I think that was like a cool little twist, you know, like even though like at the end they make it seem like they have like all the black men like all buffed out and like standing in front of them. It's like, oh, scary, run away. But I think like the overarching message of the collaboration between the nerds and Lambda 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 is a heartwarming one.
I know that before this movie, there wasn't actually an organization called the Tri-Lambdas. Like that didn't exist. And then after this movie, there was one that was founded based on this movie. And they're all about being inclusive.
I love it.
If that isn't like heartwarming and beautiful, then I don't know what is.
That is the only good thing that has come out of this movie.
No, there's other good things.
Well, we got Ted McGinley. That was very good. And we got Anthony Edwards.
And beautiful franchise. Going all the way to...
I can't even speak to this. I'm not going to... Okay, if you want to speak to the... Do you want to talk about what happens later on in the franchise?
So there are 3 other movies that followed. Are they good movies? They are movies. They are movies that happened.
They are images captured on moving film.
There are beginnings and ends, and there's actors in them.
Sometimes there's some dialogue.
Sometimes there's actors that are in this movie, and sometimes not.
Wow.
Of the people that are in this movie, really only Carradine and he's the only one really that's in all of them. And other than that, Curtis Armstrong is the other one and those are the only 2 that are in all 4. Anthony Edwards comes back briefly as like a Force ghost in the second one, literally as a Force ghost, and then very briefly in the 4th one. And then they all come back in some level for 1 or 2 of them every now and then. What they're about is that the second one is that they go on vacation. The 3rd one is Curtis Armstrong, Booger, falls in love and gets married. So that one's called Nerds in Love. And the 4th one tries to undo the sins of this movie. So it's basically almost a complete remake of this movie, but without any of the problematic issues. So they try to redo all of the scenes that we found problematic, but in a more G-rated way.
So Betty shot first, is what you're saying.
Yes. And also, at this point, Stan is the dean of the university, and he has some issues, so he wants to get revenge, but he ends up becoming a nerd, so they all end up like resolving all their issues.
So it's like Cobra Kai, it just goes on for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were going to make a TV series out of it. That got canceled. They were going to remake it, and that got canceled. Apparently, in both times, the scripts were very, and I quote, problematic.
Oh, you don't say. Interesting. I mean, honestly, something we probably don't need, but
yeah,
you might have a different opinion on that as somebody who's watched the entire series.
I mean, I am a changed woman. I've seen all 4. I can only tell you that it has just made me different.
I feel like it made you one of the least judgmental people that I've ever known in my entire life. So I'm grateful that you've watched this, because if anybody can get through that and make it out the other end still laughing the way that you laugh, that's amazing.
Listen, I've watched worse. I've watched the entire Highlander franchise, and I feel like I'm worst person for it. So.
We need people to respect us when they're listening to this, Aaron.
I feel like I have to like say something that makes me feel like makes it better. So it's like, listen, I was trapped underneath heavy furniture with the remote just inches away from my grasp. There was no way I could escape that. It was playing on the TV, and I couldn't escape that situation.
I buy it. I have to buy it.
So the question is, do we cherish this? And my answer is yes. And I am going to tell you why. And the reason I cherish this is because at the end, there is a good message here. And there is a message about acceptance.
Yes.
And after the jocks destroy the nerd's house, Gilbert goes down to the pep rally where the jocks are getting ready for the big game, where they're just doing the rally shit, and he gives a heartfelt speech, and everybody comes to his defense. So the Tri-Lambdas are there, and they stand up for the nerds, and the nerds finally stand up for themselves, which is something they've actually never done. Mm-hmm. And they say, I am a nerd and I am proud. And if you are a nerd, and I'm sure everybody here at one point in your life has felt like an outsider, or you were called a spaz, or you were made to feel less, then you should stand up with us, because everybody has felt that once in your life.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why it connected to me as a kid. Is because of that speech. Is because of like, yeah, like I totally relate to this. And because like, look, it's like when I was growing up, it's like I went to schools that were predominantly white, and I was like one black kid in a sea of like white faces. And so I felt like while I assimilated really, really easily because I just grew up around it, like you still stick out like a sore thumb and you get treated differently and everything. And so I think this movie stuck with me because of that, you know, and I think in retrospect, even like forgive a lot of its sins because of what you're talking about. Like now, having said that, I don't need to watch this movie and again anytime soon. Like I just don't think it's that funny. Like I thought it was way funnier as a kid, but when I watched it as an adult, I just I thought it was going to be way worse than it was. Like from my recollection, I thought like the pranks just weren't that funny. Like some of like the, you know, interactions between the guys is funny and everything, and it's cute, and some of it's even charming, you know, like especially like between, you know, Lewis and Anthony Edwards' character. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's an okay movie. I think it's very symbolic of what the 80s was all about. I think that it has like a cemented place in 80s like raunchy comedy lore, and other than that, you know, I think it's a cherish just because of the nostalgia I attached to it, and because it was something that I watched a lot of during my formative years. But as a standalone film, if I look at it and like say, is this good or is this bad? It's like kind of meh.
I don't disagree with you. Again, I do like this movie a lot, but again, it's not one I need to come back to all the time. It's not something that makes me laugh out loud. When I was a kid, I was very much a nerd. I was very much teased. I was very much thrown into lockers and tripped and spit on and all of the things. And I did have people that followed me around school chanting nerd, 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 which I credit this movie for giving them the ammunition and the vocabulary. Thanks, movie.
This podcast is our therapy. Can you tell yet?
Yeah. You know, so but at the same time, like, this movie also did a lot for movies. This movie was one of the first that took a nerd and put it in the limelight. It paved the way for things like The Big Bang Theory and Real Genius, which are movies. I mean, I don't watch Big Bang Theory, but it is what it is. And it did a lot for people. And people seem to enjoy that one. But I love Real Genius. I love that movie. And that makes me laugh a lot. And Val Kilmer will always be wonderful.
Always.
And there is a lot of nerds as the hero. I don't think was ever put forth as an idea until this movie. So I do thank this movie for that.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Like those are all like really good points, like really solid points to give it a cherish. And like I said, it's like I'm giving it a cherish, but it's only because I think, first of all, any movie in the 80s is going to have sins. It's just going to, and you have to you have to kind of just like look at things as a time capsule and say like, yeah, that was fucked up, and like not let it ruin everything else. But I think that's like the overarching kind of message of the movie like still stands. And you're right, it was kind of like one of the first movies to say like nerds are cool. You can still, you know, get the girl. You can still, you know, be yourself and, you know, make your mark and everything. And I think that was a cool message. So yeah, I give it a cherish. Don't have to watch it again.
Yes. All of that. I don't need to watch this for at least a couple more years. I'm sure at some point it'll be on and I'm like, sure, why not?
You watch this every couple of years?
It comes up. Listen,
you have a whole I can just see it now. You have like a whole ritual. You're like, oh, it's like the day that Revenge of the Nerds was released 40 years ago, and I'm gonna make I'm going to make pie.
They are going to make
and I'm
a
going to
fifth
eat it.
one.
Oh, Jesus.
And
No.
then I'm going to have to watch it whenever, or they're going to do like a special like steel box release. And then I will have to watch it in order to see, and it'll have like director's commentary. And then I'm going to watch it with the director's commentary.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's. Yeah,
I'm watching
I don't
the
have anything else to
respect
say about this.
fall away from her. It's literally falling away from her. Like in like little pixels. It's like sand. It's just like
I am.
It's just.
I'm evaporating
she's
before her eyes. I'm just like
she's just dissolving. Like it's amazing.
she does this to taunt me.
Listen, for those who don't know me, and none of you do, and that's totally fine. I have a media room with over thousands and thousands of movies in it, probably over 10,000 movies. And Chrissy, you can divide. Do I not have this media room?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so between me and my husband, we buy so much movies. Him mostly, but we buy so many movies. And whenever we buy a new 4K, whenever we buy a steel box, we watch it and then we get rid of the old one that was previously on DVD or just on Blu-ray. We have upgraded Revenge of the Nerds several times. So the one that I watched was previously the 2-box set that came out, and now a new version is going to be coming out. Will I be watching the new version? Probably. Why? Because there might be scenes in there that I hadn't seen before. I kind of want that just to have it in my memory.
I am shocked that you have this much to say about this film.
Oh,
This is why I love you. This is why I love you.
I didn't even go into the fourth film where like Lewis totally like gives up on being a nerd. He has a ponytail. He got rid of his glasses. He's like no longer a nerd. And then they all turn on him for giving up his nerd culture. That's what they call it. Nerd culture. It's almost like upsetting.
You know what's upsetting?
That I know that. So much about that sentence.
The fact that you
that
can
entire
say
sentence.
this much about Revenge of the Nerds 4, I'm like flabbergasted right now. And so is the audience.
It's okay.
Keep telling yourself that.
I'm calming myself down.
Okay. No, you're going to be fine. You're going to be, this brings you joy. I'm happy it brings you joy. I'm happy for you.
James Cromwell's in all of them, I think.
And he looks exactly the same.
Yeah, I think he made it to all of them. And it's like way past his like Oscar nomination. Like I think he's just doing it for shits and giggles at this point.
He seems like he's having a good time in this one. I mean, in the very short amount of time that he's in it.
Yeah. And then he just continues, like even Gilbert's not in all of them, but his dad keeps showing up. All right. So I can't talk about this anymore without outing myself, without like getting into a deep dive about like Revenge
I think
of the
we're
Nerds.
so far past that, Aaron. Oh my God. We're like 20 minutes past that. 20 minutes past when people should have knowledge of how much you know about Revenge of the Nerds should have ended.
At this,
it should have been.
There's a GoFundMe now for therapy.
Okay. So, all right, you're a cherish. You're a deep cherish. I'm a light cherish.
I wouldn't go deep cherish, but I just cherish.
You're lying to yourself right now.
No,
you're just trying
cherish.
to save face at this point.
No, deep cherish would be like real genius or like.
That's not problematic though, is it?
I mean, as you said, it's the 80s, so there's problematic portions
I'm sure there are
to everything.
I'm sure there are problematic parts. I just love that movie too much to even look at them though.
And don't forget Judy from this movie.
Yeah, she's in Real Genius.
She's Jordan, and yeah,
she was definitely typecast, but she's perfect.
Yeah,
she's literally perfect for this. Okay, are we ready to call it?
Yeah.
Time of podcast death.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We hope that you enjoyed us talking about why we still love Revenge of the Nerds, even though it's deeply problematic in some parts. But yeah, stay tuned next week when we dive into another problematic film and tell you why we still love it.
I'm so sorry.
Signing off. This is Chrissy Redding.
I'm so sorry. This is Erin. Bye.
Bye.